So after speaking to many players at the very highest levels of the game, I find it's very mixed on whether players have an afternoon nap. Some do, some don't, some have family commitments or other commitments that mean that it's very difficult to have a nap, and some just choose not to. But right now, I'm gonna see if I can convince you why you absolutely should be taking an afternoon nap after training. Now, this does come with a caveat. If you find that taking an afternoon nap means that you have trouble sleeping at night, do not nap. Your nightly sleep needs to be prioritized and protected. It is incredibly important to performance and every other aspect of your game and even your life. So do not mess with your sleep at night. But if you don't have a problem with this, if you can nap and still sleep well at night, then you need to incorporate this into your game. And certainly if you want to get better quicker. Now you see, the way that your brain learns and improves is by practicing the skill. So this is obviously what you're doing at training. You're practicing and you're improving. Now what is actually happening in your brain here is that you're making connections with neurons. And the more that you practice, the more that these connections between these neurons become stronger and more established, and therefore you become better. So that is what is physically happening in your brain when you're training and when you're practicing. You are improving your ability by doing this to your brain. But here's the thing, when you sleep, you're not just resting. There are some incredible processes that are occurring in your brain without you even being aware of them. And one of these brilliant processes is that your brain will accelerate the improvements that you've made in training. So just by doing the exact same things in training, but having a nap afterwards is going to accelerate your development, accelerate your improvement and your abilities on the football pitch. Now, to many of you watching who don't know much about how that brain of yours works, and maybe you haven't watched much of my stuff, this will probably seem quite a bizarre thing to say, that you can make accelerated improvements to your game by simply having a sleep after training. But when we start to understand that everything that you do is controlled by this, and that in fact your brain is absolutely incredible, then you start to realize that yes, it is that incredible, but this is just one of the many brilliant ways that we can tap into your brain to improve your game and your performances. Your brain is always trying to help you all the time. It's just about understanding it and letting it work for you, rather than what happens quite a lot of the time is your brain is working against you when you don't even realize this. So when it comes to this nap, try and have it as close to the end of training as possible. Now, it doesn't need to be immediately. You don't need to be sleeping in the changing rooms, just sometime within the next hour or even the 30 minutes if you can. And then we don't need to be sleeping all afternoon, just for around 20 or 30 minutes. And even then, if you sleep, great. But it's also excellent if you just switch off from everything. So if you do find it difficult to sleep at night, this is one thing that you can do instead of napping. You simply rest. No thinking about the past or the future, no mobile phones, no anything. You're almost meditating and you're just deeply resting. No stimulus in your environment around you. You just allow yourself to rest. And remember, 20 or 30 minutes, and this will be ability enhancing and be a massive complement to the training session that you've just done. Now, you imagine doing this once, twice, 3 times, 5 times, 20 times, 30 times, every time that you go training. It will make a massive difference upon your overall development and where your career will get to. Now, if you'd like to know more about how to utilize your brain to play the very best football of your life, go and watch my free mental performance program that's on my website. It's called The Fearless Footballer, and you can see this, it's completely free at markbowden.football. And I promise you, you incorporate what's in that program and it will revolutionize your game. And if you're a pro player, you can also find details on my website of how you can personally work with me to level up your performances and advance your career utilizing this, your amazingly powerful brain.